Good luck.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Game Addicts podcast, the show where we sit back and talk about all the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I'm your host, Brando. He's player 2, Mike.
Oh, hello.
And this is episode 26 of our podcast. And we have the window open. Hopefully it doesn't start raining in. It's a very rainy and gloomy day here in our land. Of course, we get the official Game Addicts podcast weather report. And it's actively been raining and kind of storming all day. I forgot the lights.
Hail.
Well, we had hail too, yeah, like marble-sized hail.
Yeah.
I forgot the lights, so it's a little darker in here. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, if you're on audio, well, you don't really. If
you don't really care.
You don't really care about that either way or the other. But buddy, we've been busy. We actually did record some extra episodes for April because I've decided I kind of want to take a few weeks off of podcasting, both from this show and then Journey into Comics. We have extra episodes of each, of course, for us. You recorded a Legend of Zelda retrospective, and then Nate recorded an Xbox 360 retrospective, and those will be going up. This episode's actually pushing those back. And also, before we start, before we start,
what are we stopping?
we're going to stop, collaborate, and listen because I've made the authoritative decision to change our launch day for when this show goes out.
Oh, okay.
Well, I don't know if you know. Do you even know when the show comes out?
Mondays.
Not anymore. They're going to come out on Thursdays now.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
And here's why. Journey into Comics goes up on Monday as well. Journey into Comics used to go up on Fridays.
Right.
And then when me and Nate started recording on Fridays, then it shifted to going up on Monday. And so Game Addicts was sort of kind of in flux because we were not in flux. What I mean by that is that Journey into Comics was on Fridays, and then it started moving around. Whenever we could record, we would record and get that done and get them up ASAP.
Right.
But I feel like getting both shows out on the same day kind of hurts a little bit because not so much the fact that I think people are struggling time-wise listening to another, because if it doesn't matter what day it goes up. If it goes up and you decide to check it out and download it, you can just listen to it later. But my point is that it's more difficult for me to remember to plug it and push it. Because I got two shows then coming out on the same day that I'm like, okay, I got to share this one. And the next day is like, okay, I shared that yesterday. I'm sharing this one today. You know?
Yeah.
And so I don't really think that's fair. So by the time you're listening to this episode here tonight that we're doing, there hasn't been an episode yet this week. So you guys might be wondering, what's going on? Don't worry, guys. It's cool. I'm decided to push it back a little bit. And we have two episodes after this in the can ready to go. The next week will be the Nate episode with Xbox, and then, of course, the one after that with the Zelda. But I just wanted to touch base on that and let everybody know that the official day of launch will be changing. And I feel it's good to have an official day of when the show comes out because that's something to remember. It's something to look forward to. If someone really wants to listen to the show and they're like, oh man, Monday was the day, but it's like, don't worry, guys. Now Thursday is going to be the day. So when you get to Thursday and you're like, oh crap, new Game Addicts, that means the weekend's that much closer.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
But see, I've got several shows that I listen to that I know that I look forward to every Friday coming out, every Monday coming out, every Tuesday coming out, and some of the other ones are a little bit more in flux there, but.
I wish I had more time to listen to podcasts. I have a 7-minute drive to work.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. Eventually, mine will change, but I listen to them when I'm doing chores around the house. I listen to them sometimes when I'm playing games. Like if I'm doing.
I can't do that.
If I'm doing something very mind-numbing,
I guess I could now since I'm really just shrine hunting. I think I could.
In Breath of the Wild, when I was just kind of roaming around, not doing anything story-wise, since there's not a lot of voice acting. Just turn on a podcast, wander around, do stuff.
That's all I've been doing in that game.
But I have quite a few mixed podcasts. Gaming, 1 or 2 comics, and then a bunch of wrestling.
A bunch of wrestling, not just 1 or 2.
Well,
a bunch.
Well, Edge and Christian now have a podcast. I haven't even listened to it yet. I just saw that they released it a few weeks ago, so I want to hear them because those are 2 of my favorite guys growing up. Going in Raw, shout out to their podcast. 2 guys, Steve and Larson, and they're just 2 fans. They've been fans for a long time, and they do a show every week, and I think they do a show after every show. Yeah, like
Really?
Raw and then SmackDown and then a pay-per-view, and then they do like countdowns
Wow.
every week. Yeah, they're nuts, and they're on YouTube as well. The Jim Cornette Experience, I listen to him every once in a while just because he is hilarious, and he comes up with some of the most off-the-wall stuff you've ever heard somebody say.
Really?
Yes. And I know I've told you one of them, and I'm not going to repeat it here because it's pretty vulgar.
Oh, okay.
The Kind of Funny Games Cast, the Kind of Funny Morning Show. I do believe the Game Over Greggy Show is on here as well. That's the Kind of Funny crew. P.S.
Man, you got a lot.
P.S. I Love You XOSO is also from that. It's a
Yeah.
PlayStation. But that has now, I think it's been put on hold since Colin left the Kind of Funny group. Don't know what's going on there. I've got Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard. That's a great show because, all right, so this guy, he worked in the wrestling business as a producer for a long time.
Right.
So he's behind the scenes. He has a lot of knowledge and info about what happened. But when he tells us stories, he'll do impersonations of people. And it's absolutely hilarious to hear him do Vince McMahon and to do Jim Cornette, for him to do Steve Austin and Paul Heyman, and to hear him do Roddy Piper, Dusty Rhodes, and he just did Paul Bearer and one of them. It was really funny. Talk is Jericho is a neat show, again, a wrestler, but he also does like music.
Right.
He has a lot of music guys on there. And the Joe Rogan Experience, that's a neat one. Of course, Joe Rogan, longtime UFC announcer, and he was also on Fear Factor.
Right.
How many episodes do you think he has of his podcast? Just throw a number out there.
27.
942.
Holy crap!
He's been podcasting since like 2009.
I didn't even know.
And he has some guys that he has on like a regular basis, some of his friends. But he's also had like shows with Kevin Smith, and that was a 4-hour podcast.
Oh, wow.
And speaking of Kevin Smith, Fat Man on Batman is one of my favorite ones. It started off with just him nerding out about Batman, having people on the show, just interviewing them, who worked in or on or around Batman. And now it's kind of evolved into Journey to Comics. I shit you not. Him and Mark Bernardin sat back and they just talk comics and what's going on television. Which is funny because when they started doing those episodes, they called them the utility belt.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah.
And then now that's just become the show. But yeah, dude, I listen to quite a bit of podcasts, and nice little ambiance of thunder in the background. Maybe you can listen to this podcast while you sleep at night. Ooh, that feels good.
It does. That's why I got it open.
But guys, yeah, the listening to podcasts became a passion, and then now doing podcasts is a passion. Of course, the goal is not to try and copy anybody, but kind of make your own path.
Right.
And I feel like over the year that we've done this show, we've kind of done that, where we've kind of mixed in a little bit of when I used to do pickup videos. Put that in here. Let's talk about some new news. Let's just sit back and let's just talk about Zelda the whole episode. Let's talk about the Super Nintendo the whole episode. Who cares what's going on right now? Let's nerd out about what we loved in the past. And part of that is, collecting. We talk about stuff we collect. And we have some pickups here on the table today about...
I'll let you go first because you have the giant box taking up the table.
I do.
For one game.
I have, for PS4, the Persona 5 Take Your Heart Premium Edition.
Jeez.
And I'm trying to remember how much this cost me. I think it was $90. But because of the good old Amazon Prime...
I know.
I'm looking it up right here in the air because, I just don't want to be wrong about it. I'm going to guess and say it was like 70-something.
Huh.
We order a lot of crap. We order a lot of crap.
64 hardcover art book, a CD soundtrack, a steel book with game, a 4-inch Morgana plush, a school
I
bag.
can just search the order. That's badass.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna open it here in a second.
There's a lot.
I got. Okay, so this was $90, and
With your 20% off, it was?
it was $77.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
For $17 more for a regular edition of the game, I got this big ass box. I don't know where to put it in my room.
Yeah, definitely.
So it comes with a slip cover, which is awesome that they have this because it,
yeah.
it at least it fits into my collection. It looks like my other PS4 games.
Yes.
But it comes with this box. It has a little pull tab here because it's got a magnet in there to hold that. And the box has some artwork for the characters. There's the player character. There's some dude, some chick, And then
I'm assuming you have yet to start this game.
I have not even put it in my system, and I refuse.
Well,
But-
yeah, you
because
have too much going on.
I'm still playing Mass Effect, and I want to finish that, and then I want to finish Zelda before I even touch this. The way it's panning out, this is going to be my summer game.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be another 100-hour experience, just like Persona 4 was, from what I'm hearing. I've already seen a little bit of the game because the game has been out since September,
Right.
in Japan. So I have seen a little bit. It's very stylistic. A coworker of ours and friend Nick Torres said he's thinking about giving this the old college try. I gave him a fair warning. It's a very JRPG.
Yeah.
He's not very into that style. He did try FF15. Thought it was
Yeah, but you can't judge your Final Fantasy experience on 15.
Yes, but part of what brought him in is that because it was a little bit more westernized.
Right, because it was action. It wasn't
Exactly.
turn-based, and he's turn-based is stupid. Yeah, well.
Well, he played Pokemon, so he doesn't think turn-based is all that stupid. We have characters, and then we have their personas behind them, which are personas in this game look pretty badass. I really like this dude's with that skull face.
Yeah.
On the opposite side, we have 4 more characters. As usual with Persona games, these are the characters you're going to be spending your time with and trying to deepen your bonds with. To make the fact that you can make and fuse personas of whatever type each characters represent
Right.
stronger. Which, that's something that you are probably not going to be able to spend time with every single one of these characters to complete it. You'll be able to get most of them. In Persona 4, I still had 1 or 2 that I didn't get absolutely complete. And I want to say they were all side characters. I got all of my main characters done. A few of the side characters that I didn't get. The cool thing is that they have New Game Plus, and you can continue the game with all the stuff that you've already amassed.
Right.
As far as because you have to build up your stats. Because you have battle stats, and then you have everyday stats like courage, knowledge,
Right, your typical.
Yeah, and you have to do things like study and go to work and do certain activities, increase those. Those carry over to a New Game Plus, so then you can spend all your time focusing on your other aspects. To open this thing up here, we have the game. It's a steelbook, in which I'm not hot on steelbook collecting, but what I like about it is that it does have a slipcover with the PS4 logo and all the stuff on the back.
But it is clear.
It is clear, so that way you do have the artwork from the steelbook on the front, which doesn't bother me. I actually like, if steelbooks had more slipcovers, I would like them a lot better. The reason I don't like steelbooks is because when it's just like this and sitting on your shelf, sure, it's with your other PS4 games, but I want them to look at least somewhat uniform. Because when they're sitting up there and they all have the PS4 logo there, I like that.
Right.
And I'm not so bad as the PS1 where it says PlayStation, green or black. It doesn't matter to me anymore. I just want the logo to be in the same spot on each one. So that way there's some uniformity. When there's no logo at all, I don't like that. But
I like the steel covers because I like to keep them out. I don't want them to be in my shelf of other things. I want them to stand out.
Well, there's that. And I do have a couple of steelbooks on the PS4. I'm trying to remember which ones. I have Phantom Pain in PS5, and then I have Arkham Knight.
I have Skyrim, and I have Final Fantasy 15.
Anyway,
I think I have one more, but
on the inside we got more art. We got the disc. We got our epilepsy warning.
yeah.
For all for you people that unfortunately that affects. Other stuff inside here. We have an art book that also comes with it.
It's a plushie.
We have a plushie of the cat character, which I don't even know the name of yet. It's in here somewhere.
I told you already.
You did?
When I was reading.
Oh, Morgana.
Yeah.
And Zorro. Oh, that's Morgana's. That's funny. But Morgana is going to be like the Teddy character in this game. Of course, Teddy was the lovable and annoying character from Persona 4. He became one of my core teammates in battle. I actually really liked him in battle. I had a good system going on with my characters in 4, where Teddy could do healing, but I didn't use him primarily for healing. I used Yukiko for healing, and then he was like a backup in case she went down or whatever. But because he could also do some pretty good physical damage, and he did ice damage. And then she did healing and fire. My guy could switch, and I had him switch quite a bit. Because mostly he was lightning. but then I would switch it every once in a while. I had some other ability, and then I used oh crap, I don't remember his name. He's like your first friend in the game. Yosuke.
Yosuke. As I say, I know this name.
Yosuke, and then he's like wind damage.
So you had all your bases covered. Almost.
Almost. I mean, but yes, I had fire, ice, lightning, wind for the most part. But with the main character, you can switch personas mid battle. So if you get in there and you go, crap, I need this certain kind, you can go, and if you know which one has that kind, you can do that.
Right.
I have the Persona 5 Sounds of Rebellion soundtrack, which I don't know if this is just songs from this game.
It says it's a CD, Persona CD on the back. That's what it said.
It says not for resale, Sega. It has Persona 5 on it. I would assume it's all it is, but you know how crazy it is. I remember in like one of my Ease collections, I have a soundtrack CD that has like songs from Ease games from some other games except for the one that you got.
Right.
Morgana plush, and then the last thing in here is a
backpack.
Yeah, it's like
school
a
bag.
backpack, a school bag.
Yeah.
Shujin Academy, which I am terrible at Japanese.
Yeah, good luck.
I thought about actually trying to pick up and learn some Japanese. I figured that might help out with some work stuff someday.
Eventually, yes. I should probably pick that up being on the pilot team.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this because I really enjoyed my Persona 4 experience. And I do have Persona 1. I have both copies now, Persona 2, and the PSP and PS1. And then, of course, in 4 I have that in 2 different forms. Now I have this. I have played a little bit of Persona 1. I started that a while ago, before I'd even beat 4. And it's different. It's older, so there's that. But Persona 4, I absolutely loved it. Other than the music got a little annoying. It's the same music over and over again. But the cool thing is that like some of the battle music was kind of cool.
Right.
Especially the boss music. I really dug the boss music in Persona 4. But that is my lone pickup because I bought this when I bought Zelda and Mass Effect, and I got all those games when I got my tax return.
All right, so mine.
Now it's your turn. You got some more.
I'm going to leave this one for last because I don't know very much about it, so I pulled up a Wikipedia.
No, okay, that's good.
Because I don't know very much about it at all.
Do you know what system it's for?
PlayStation.
Could have fooled me.
I mean, technically it could be if they...
The old deal, like the original intent.
If I can get the one prototype one, it would work.
Yeah. Well.
Maybe. Anywho, so I got The Legend of Zelda original. So I had... Okay, so story about this. So we were... And my wife was very mad at me. I couldn't choose. So we had Zelda 1 and 2. And then they had Turtles. They basically had...
They had Battletoads.
They had Battletoads. They had a couple other games. And then I stood there and I was just like, I want all of these 5. Can I have them? And she's like, no. it's like $100. It's like, but I need them.
But honey,
I need them.
I need these for my collection.
So I decided since I don't have these, I should pick these up. So I got Zelda 1 and Zelda 2.
Which is
Adventures
cool.
of Link.
Which is cool because while the episode of Zelda hasn't come out yet, like that we did the retrospective on, you didn't own those yet. So I used my copies, and now you have your own.
Right.
That's awesome because, like even though I don't like the Adventure of Link that much, it's not my favorite at all. They're still, if you're collecting NES, you got to have the Zeldas.
I will own all of them. Every Zelda.
You need them, in my opinion, before the Turtles, before Battletoads.
Yes.
Even though both those games are awesome.
Yes.
Those are Zeldas, and if you're going to collect for any system, in my opinion, you guys might think differently. First and foremost, you want to get the system exclusives.
Oh yes.
That are like the A games, and those are 2 of those that were on that system.
So a game that I've never played all the way through, The Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember this. I played on the demo.
I remember
torture your enemies.
I remember you could. There was a
piranha pool.
Well, the thing I'm thinking about is like there's like a drill, and there's like it's like on a table, and you like pull it down to scare them.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So how that game works is that how hard you pull on the stick.
Yeah.
Depends on how much you like lower that down to scare them. Me? Whoops.
Yeah.
Literally, yeah, I just killed them every time on accident.
So on the demo, you could run through, and there was, once you killed all the guys but one, you could torture the other one in a pool of piranhas.
Yeah.
You'd shove his face under. As you say, the longer you hold the stick down, or the harder you hold the for this one, it's the longer you held the stick in, the longer he stayed underwater.
Right, yeah.
And then eventually, obviously, if you wanted to, you can kill him, which I don't know anybody that didn't. But it's a Xbox that is not an exclusive.
No, I believe I'll look it up, see if I have it.
But it is an awesome game.
I gotta look it up because I know I played it. And I want to say I was gonna buy it,
But anyway, so moving on.
Go ahead.
I had to have this, and I got lucky enough. A really funny story with this one. So we were checking out with all my other stuff. Okay,
I
so
do not have it yet.
I was
It's on my
checking
wish
out
list.
with the Punisher and Resident Evil's RE7 and Zelda's and Secret of the Stars. And this guy walks in, and I see him with a stack, and he had a stack of GameCube games. And I told her, I was like, we're not leaving. And she's like, why? And I was like, because if he has a GameCube game, in our area, it's hard to find GameCube games at Disc Replay at a good price, because you can go
They
other
go
places.
Fast. They go fast.
Yeah. So I sit and waited for them to go through it, and luckily the guys, they know us very well. He set it aside for me, and they already had signed me over that I was getting this no matter what.
That's cool.
So I went in there, and I obviously got it, and so I was expecting $35, because for a long time this is a $25 game, $25-$30, right? For a while. $12. I was like, wow. And he said last week the price dropped from $25 to $12. I don't know why, but I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
And one of the good things that I got about this is it is in great condition. There's no writing on it. It has the manual,
There you go.
all the slips, everything. I was super happy to get this. And this is one of my... I mean, it's not your traditional Mario games, but let me tell you what. This, to me, is one of my funnest Mario games that I've ever played. It was different. It was outside the box. It was quirky.
Mm-hmm. And of course,
100%.
And of course, you just like me, you don't necessarily care that it's player's choice.
No, I don't care.
Because it's getting to a point of how radical of a collector are you going to be?
Well, you look at this. How long have I looked for this game?
Yeah, well, and that's another thing, because when I was doing the PS1 collection, I passed up games that I could have bought that were greatest hits, because I'm like, no, I want all Black Label, and then
Legend of Dragoon,
yeah, and then I could have bought that for you when I was at home.
When I turned it down, and then right whenever you left, I was like, I wonder if he's still there, and you're like, oh, well, we're on our way home, and I'm like, I should have had it.
That was crazy, because that was up north, and it was the same price as down here, and it was complete.
I should have told you.
But I mean, there are collectors who collect both the Player's Choice and the original runs, like John Hancock out west in Oregon.
Yeah,
he is pretty crazy about that, and that's awesome that he does a slow burn with that and gets them. But for me, I think I'm just happy owning a copy of the game and having it as complete as I can get it, depending on how long I'm looking for it, especially for GameCube games, because GameCube games, as I said, and as you said, go fast. They go so fast around here.
So, and the thing about it is, it's like the disc is not any different.
Yes.
So the disc is exactly the same. It's just the cover. So like when I buy Double Dash, which I'm really looking just for the disc. I know it doesn't really matter, but I would like to find just the disc.
Well, if you find it in a generic,
I don't care,
disc replay case, boom, you've already got a case for it.
I already have my original case for it.
That's the way I was with Wind Waker for a while, because I had a case.
I think Emily actually said that she had a lot of my old GameCube games, and I told her, I said, when you move into your apartment and we move you, I'm taking it all back. It's mine. It's my original. I'm getting it back.
Boom.
Anywho, and then because I really wanted to play it, I've heard a lot of good stuff about it, RE7. Now, my wife played this a little bit. I sat and watched her because she's a big scaredy cat, and I love watching her get scared. One of the main reasons why I bought this game, I did want it, but that's pretty much the main reason why. And I like watching her on her first experience. So it wasn't super scary, but you could tell that she was tense the entire time because there's a part, and it's just like within the first 5 minutes, your girlfriend turns on you. She's infected.
Yeah.
Okay, and you read a list and it says that she's infected, but you can't do anything to her until she turns. So you go up these stairs, and she flips out and breaks through this wall, and then you're like walking around, you're trapped in these rooms. You're like, I don't really want to go back from where I came from. Something happened to her, and I don't really want to go back that way. And as you go down that way, it makes a really weird, like, creepy noises. And every time you take a step towards that door, it gets louder and louder and louder until you get halfway down the steps, and she crawls up the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, yes, exactly.
I've seen that, yeah.
And she was like, oh, my, like, every time she walked up the steps, she goes, I ain't going down there. No, I ain't doing it. I ain't going down there. And then, like, I was like, you have to go down there. And she's like, no, I'm not doing it.
Just imagine if she had the VR headset on.
She couldn't handle it. She'd have a heart attack. There's no way. I don't even know if I could because it's pretty intense.
Well, you know what we got to do then? We got to get a VR headset.
They had like
2 or 3 of them.
2 or 3 at this replay, but all right.
And only one PS4. They only had a PS4 Pro.
They had one PS4 Pro.
2 Super Nintendos in really good condition, no discoloration.
Yeah, I did see that.
$50,
$50.
something like that. Which,
unfortunately, my TV, I need to get an old box TV. My current TV will not play.
that's messed up.
It sucks, but
It messed up.
I wanted a 4K down here for my...
What I would do, because this is what I did. You might get lucky. Keep an eye out on Craigslist.
I am.
Keep an eye on Craigslist and keep an eye out. I know you don't use Facebook a lot, but they have Facebook Marketplace now. It's just like Craigslist.
I'm starting to use it more.
And check out Marketplace. Check out Goodwills, and ask to plug them in first, and maybe even bring something that you can plug into it to check the screen. Because I bought a TV from Goodwill that was going to be a good TV. It looked great on the outside, but it was older, so the screen looked fine when it was playing TV there. But then when you played a game, the screen was just a little bit too wide, so you couldn't see your parts or your detailed information. So I ended up taking it back, which with Goodwill means they give you store credit, which is cool though, because I got another one of those like AV switches, and you can find controllers.
Right.
You can get some cool stuff at Goodwill. It's just you just got to have that in the back of your head that it might not be the quality you're looking for, but it might be.
Right.
You know. So go ahead with your last one.
This one I've never seen before in person.
I haven't either. You sent me a picture of it a while ago.
I sent you a picture of it last week, and I said if I had the money, I was going to buy it. I got the money, so I went ahead and bought it. It is Secret of the Stars.
Tecmo.
It's a Tecmo.
Secret of the Stars. A fantasy.
Yeah, RPG. So I didn't even know they made RPGs. I had no idea. But I pulled up some information here since I absolutely know nothing about this game. And
This has a Orbit Music label on the back with discs, records, tapes. U.S. 20 Town and Country Shopping Center, Mishawaka, Indiana. Never heard of it.
Wow.
If this label's broken, you must purchase.
Ooh.
So what's this game about?
So I'm going to let you read this since you have a better... But...
The main character, Ray, and his party of Aquatilian warriors embark on a quest to find and destroy Hamkrus.
Yeah.
Wow. The evil power threatening their world. Ray begins his journey alone on a tiny island. Why do all RPGs start on a tiny island? I know Ys is always like just in Ys, every single one he just washes up ashore somewhere.
Yeah. You should probably not get on a boat, dude.
Yeah, no.
Ever.
But eventually he meets his friends and fellow Aquatilian warriors, Tina, Cody, Leona, and Dan. It's funny because
it's a hardcore JRPG, but
with Aquatilian warriors named Tina, Cody, Leona, and Dan, and Ray, and even creates a town for the victims of Hamkrus evil to live. Villains encountered along tend to range from comical, such as Cat Boo and Bad, to the elite generals of evil Hamkrus. Initially, all the teens are considered Penon,
Huh?
Pennon. Pennon.
Pennon.
The lowest rank of warrior. Before they can destroy Homcrews, which each of them must undergo a trial of their respective temples hidden around the world to receive the secondary powers of Banalet. Dan is an exception because he is a descendant of the prosperous wise man clan of Aquatilian. Aquatilian.
I couldn't pronounce it in my head, so I gave up.
Aquutallal. Let me try that again. Aqutallalion. When Ray, Tina, Cody, and Leona receive the status of Banalet and are united by the powers of Dan. The Aquatilian is reborn, and the group gains incredible powers. The Aquatilians are not alone. 11 members of Kustera can be recruited to fight for the young warriors in their place for a time being. The Kustera are mostly meant to serve as a supplement to the Aquatilians, or Aquatilians. Man,
it's rough.
I want to say Aquatilians, but there's no A after. Like, it doesn't say aqua. It's like Octwa. Octwalians. Octilians.
Octilians. I don't know.
Octalians, maybe. But their role in the story is vital to its progression. From the same temples of the Octalians gain their Banalet status, there is a Kustera only warp icon that sends the group into a dungeon where great treasures are hidden.
So, anyways, if you know the actual pronunciation of this, please leave us something.
Well, see, this is like a Super Nintendo game, so it's up to you to decide.
Yeah.
It's just like before they added voices to Final Fantasy. Is it Chocobo? Shokobo?
Right.
Chocobo? Which is it? Is it
Chocobo?
Is it Gyashel Greens? Gyshel Greens?
Gishu Greens.
I don't remember which one it is. Is it Mithril Armlet or Mithril Armlet?
Well, I think there is actually a misspelling in there. That's my thrill armlet. Anywho.
It's my thrill cave. It's where I go for my thrills.
So the look of this game is it's turn-based. So it's very similar to Final Fantasy, but it's not. So it actually says on the bottom, you did 13 HP. Wait, I'm reading.
I'm trying to see it.
13 HP damage to red slime.
Oh, so it's like Dragon Quest.
It's like Dragon Quest, where it names how much damage you did on the bottom.
Yeah. All right.
But it says that
it
pops
shows
up.
your character on the screen, unlike some of the early Dragon Quest games,
Right.
where it just showed or Phantasy Stars the same way, where it just kind of shows up and it shows the villain, and you hit attack and it goes.
Yeah.
So Dan, united by the powers of Dan, Ray has inflicted 35 points of damage.
But it says that
The powers of Dan, and suddenly I'm thinking of like Dan from Roseanne.
Yeah. So this has a similar party system like 9, where gameplay switches between two parties throughout the game, and certain areas are inaccessible without the right party. So it looks interesting. It is one of those RPGs, and we are RPG guys.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
Yeah. And I just saw it, and I was like, man, I want it. I don't know what it is, but I want it. So, yeah, it looks really neat, and I can't wait to tear into it whenever I get a
what year
system.
did it come out?
I want to
Go
say
way up.
1993. In Japan,
School
it was
buses
released in
here.
1993.
So it came out over here in 94.
July 1995.
95, that late, huh?
North America, yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So it's a neat game. I'm excited to tear into it. I want to see how it progress. The Octalians, whatever they are. But those are my pickups, guys. It was I was excited, and I wanted more. So they had a crap load. I mean, a crap load of saying the only game they didn't have that I would have to pick up, Community League Football. But outside of that, they had every Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
They had all of the Mortal Kombats. They had all of the. They had a couple Turtles games on there too, and they had a couple other ones. And I was just sitting there. I was like, "What do you do?
I went in there on Saturday, and I went in there because one of my wife's friends was looking for a DSi for her daughter, and she wanted to spend no more than $60. I'm like, that shouldn't be.
No, it should be.
Should be a little bit below that. So I went in, they didn't have one. So of course, what do? I look around.
Of course.
And in the Game Boy section, I saw 2 games that I wanted pretty desperately. I got really excited for like 0.5 seconds when I saw GBA and I saw a white Final Fantasy label. It was 4. It's not 5.
It's not 5, huh?
Not 5.
Hey, I got that one.
I know you do.
I wonder when I got that one.
I don't know. But they had Turtles, Fall of the Foot Clan on Game Boy, and Turtles 2 on the Game Boy as well. I have the third one, which I picked up a while ago, and I want to get the other 2. I had Fall of the Foot Clan when I was a kid. I got that when I got my Game Boy bundle. I got that at a garage sale in the early 90s. I got it like in a pack, and it had Turtles, I had Tetris, it had Mario Land, it had Caesar's Palace, like a gambling game.
Yeah.
Play a lot of blackjack on that.
Blackjack Master.
Hell yeah. But I want those 2 Turtles games, and I think combined they were like $12. So they're not bad. I've told myself no more retro games the rest of this year. Absolutely none. And that's getting new games. I have, if Red Dead does come out this year, I have that paid off. I've talked to Caitlin about the Ease limited run. It depends on when that comes out. It's going to depend on whether or not she's going to like green light me getting that, and then also how much the collectors is, because I have the collectors for the 3 PSP games. I have the collectors for the Vita game, and that Ease Origins will also be on PS4 and Vita, so I might just get it for the Vita.
There you go.
And then that way I would have the Ease series mostly portable.
As I say, portable.
Ease 8 is supposed to be coming out to America at some point. I don't know exactly when, but when it does, I'll probably get it.
Right.
I want to play the series more, but that's just my problem. I got too many games to play, so that's why I need to pull back. It's getting difficult to want to do that because of how much Nintendo prices in general have been rising. It's especially okay. I was.
That's why I was surprised to hear that they reduced the price.
The price of Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, I'm taking it. I was taking it no matter what.
Because I've gotten some good deals, better than what I thought on some titles that I've got there from GameCube. But like the Game Boy Color is now like getting closer to like $40-$50.
Yeah.
The Game Boy Advance SP is like $40. Of course, the Micro is $60. I bought that. Actually, I want to say it was even. Was it higher? Or was it 60? Was it 60 or 70?
It was 70.
Okay.
I believe it was 70.
Because you gave me a payment for the podcast, and I went and spent like $40 on it. I'm like, yeah, I want this before it gets even higher, because that's my fear, is that we're just the Nintendo stuff, especially when they do well.
Yes.
In a modern setting, it sends the market crazy, and the Switch is doing amazingly well. Analysts are predicting it could be even bigger than the Wii. It could have a little bit of a slower start in comparison to the PS4 or Xbox One, but the overall
the full burn of it. Oh yeah.
And then if people have it, then they're going to release games for it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they got to work harder to make the games.
And for us being the collectors and the fans of gaming that we are, it's great to see Nintendo putting out such a viable product right now, because it's portable. I mean, it's a console and it's portable.
Rob hasn't even taken it out of the system. He hasn't even taken it up to his bedroom and played with it.
I've got the itch. I'm trying to stay away from it.
He has been playing a lot of Zelda. He's really enjoying it, and he is just on the second beast. He did the Zora Beast first, and now he went up to the volcano.
That's a hard one to do.
Yeah.
Second, that's like the last one you should do.
But anyway, I want to take a little bit of a side and talk about what we did last week, because the reason why we busted our butts and got some extra episodes out is because I was going to get some extra episodes out of an event that we were a part of, mainly the Journey into Comics side.
Yes.
But that was LaFiCon here in Lafayette, Indiana, and what are you doing over there?
Piece of tape.
Don't
I put my hand on the table and it stuck to me.
No.
Your table is sticky.
It's not that sticky.
Sticky, icky, icky.
If it's sticky, it's because you got your Sprite on it.
No.
Remember that?
No. Yes.
Anyway, yeah, guys, we were part of LaFiCon 20. Was this year 17?
Yeah.
I worked today, unlike this guy.
Hey! I was there.
Yeah, but you don't work like mind-numbingly job.
You want to know what I did all day today?
What do you do?
Rewrote EISs.
At least you're using your brain.
It's not really using all its transfer from one to the other. Staring at a computer screen. Click, 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 click. That's all I did all day. Monotony at its best. Air just came on.
The air came on, and we have the window open.
It's awkward.
You wasteful energies. Anyway, yeah, we were part of that. And, of course, I helped host the panels, and we did a live Journey into Comics show. If you guys want to go check those out, April's pretty much LaFiCon month over on the Journey into Comics feed.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and subscribe to that and check out that on all the podcast services that we are on as well. And so you ran sound for us.
Yep.
And you ran your ass off and busted your ass. And it was a pretty good weekend. Busy weekend.
Man.
It was that's one reason why we decided to do a few extra episodes too, is because the actual having enough time with you getting your new position, and that be the schedule for that position can be potentially very volatile.
Right.
As far as like when we're going to have time to do the show together. I still haven't 100%. Like when Rob goes a days, it'll be different because Rob's coming soon. But until then, hopefully we can like buy some time with the extra episodes. And if I got to do one by myself, I'll do one by myself.
So far, I shouldn't have any issues until shutdown.
Just shut down?
Until 4th of July.
Well, that's good. That's good because that should be plenty of time. Because then if you need to take some time off and we can't work it out, then that's the magic of having Silent Rob fill in, because he can just sit here and we can riff on news and we can talk about some old stuff. It'll work just fine. And then, of course, the E3 episode. I've talked to Wes, and Wes said something about wanting to do something for the E3 episode. I don't know exactly what or how or we would do, what we might do. If you're on that episode, which we probably will be, if Wes wants to be a part of that, if we can work out the scheduling, we may Skype him in, and then we'll have us on camera with a picture of Wes every once in a while live via Skype. For that, so that would mean more work on my end.
You know what we could do? We could put it on my PS Vita and set him right here, so he's always looking at the camera.
That would be funny. He might have a Vita too. I don't remember, but basically, guys, LaFiCon was a great success for Journey to Comics and us, because we made some agreements, and as turns out, if everything goes like the way it's going to go, Game Addicts podcast will be at LaFiCon next year to help run the game room.
Yes,
and
failed this year.
Did it fail?
They only had the Smash tournament, and those guys never showed up again, and it was very quick. The Smash tournament was over within an hour and 20 minutes, and then what they did is we took the 64 they had set up there, and we set it up on the projection screen and just had it to where people could play on there.
So did the guys that ran it, did they just leave?
They set it up for that day, and then they were gone.
So, and that's why the Mario Kart wasn't there the next day?
Yep.
That sucks.
Right, but this year...
So were these people involved with the con, or were they just some
They're the Purdue Smash team, I believe.
I see.
I think that they just didn't get enough people to where they would want to come back and bring. They got to pack all that stuff with them and do that and set it all up, and they got to bring the TVs because they only had one working TV there for it. So I understand that if they only had I think they had enough for an 8. I want to say 8 and 4. I think they only had 14 entries, so they had 8 and 6.
That was more than Villains Con got.
Yeah.
Villains Con, they had to waive the entry fee to get people to enter. And the entry fee was $5.
I know, and the way they did it here at LaFiCon was that if you obviously you're going to pay to get into LaFiCon, and then it was $10 entry, unless obviously you paid, so it was only $5. So technically, you're only paying $5 to enter this tournament, 10 total, including the con. For us, we would have had to pay the full 10. Is my understanding. Who cares?
Well, I wouldn't have. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I was way too busy to even think about that. But
I think I had the most free time out of all of this, and I didn't have time to do it. So
Well, yeah, because we only really needed you for the beginning and ending of each
Right.
of each panel and then our podcast. But yeah, so next year, Game Addicts is going to be running the game room. I'll be splitting my time between that and running the panels. Hopefully, we have some more people there to help out. We are going to be having a booth set up next year. That has been talked about, and so we're probably going to have a podcast booth that's going to be shared by Journey to Comics and Game Addicts. So that way, when we're on stage, because we forgot to plug ourselves a lot. I think we only did it like once or twice.
Yeah, I
And
think
so when you have that where we forget, there's going to be a booth where it's like, what is this? See the guys on stage? This is what they do every week. So then we can give out business cards. We get those made up. Maybe get some more decals done.
Get our T-shirts made.
Get
We
some
met
T-shirts.
some pretty awesome people there at this.
Because
con.
me and Mike here, we're rocking these shirts. I got the wrong princess, Link Save Peach, and he's like,
the arrows. In
yeah, they have the arrows in the Koopa,
yeah.
and and this guy too. But like, what are these guys called? They're
Kaiju Tees.
KaijuTees.com.
So it's KAIJU
Tees.com.
TEES.
TEES. They were there, and we've talked to them about potentially getting some shirts done.
And who owns those is
Time Warp Comics.
Time Warp Comics. So we talked to them, and he was real cool about getting us hooked up with some T-shirts and it's good time.
Now, when we did the panels, of course, we talked to a bunch of different people, but one of the guys, he's a Marvel artist. His name is John Tyler Christopher, and it turns out he's a big gamer. And so, what me and Nate are going to try and do is that we are going to try and get him on the Journey to Comics podcast, just to get away from like a live setting, which is fine. It was great. I mean, that episode will be coming out at the end of April, and you guys should go listen to that because it is probably the most laid back I was at the con, like on stage.
Oh, it was when I was sitting up there on the sound listening to it. I was like, this is just a straight podcast. Like you went from hosting a panel and it just transitioned into podcast.
It did. It really did, because once we started learning that he's number one, he's an artist for Marvel, for a cover artist. He does Marvel and Star Wars stuff.
Right.
He does variants for Star Wars where they look like the old school Kenner, the Star Wars figures.
Right.
And he draws them, and he does variants, and so like he just released a couple more for Rogue One, for the comic adaptation of Rogue One, and then to find out that he's a big video game guy. He's been playing Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
He liked FF13. That's where it all started. And then it turns out that he's really big into wrestling, and we were geeking out about that. Like it's like, did we just become best friends? You know? And so what we might do, I don't know, because when we do a show with him, it's going to be a very laid back thing.
Right.
And depending on how long we go, because I don't want to keep him for a whole long, but I know how we get. I know how we get. If we go in there thinking, we're just going to do an hour and a half, or it's going to be 4 hours later.
Yep.
And then we're done. So if we spend a lot of time talking about games, what I might do is I might just double publish the episode and put one here, put one over there. I don't know, because I just think talking to this guy, hearing him talk about games, I didn't expect that from him.
He has the same passion that you do.
Yes, and we just started talking about, like, he said he's still working on the Phantom Pain, and he said that he wasn't in love with it, but then he started talking about, he goes, let's be honest, we don't play the games for the story anymore. When they started talking about memes and jeans and all that kind of stuff, they lost me. When Ocelot started meowing to summon his soldiers, and then I started laughing. I'm like, yeah, but then that same game made me cry. He goes, yeah, the boss. I mean, duh. And I'm like, he
gets it.
He feels the same feels that I felt, and so that was really cool. It was a really cool experience. We'll be there next year. We'll obviously talk more about that next year, but I just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit because it's something that we did, and it's something that I felt was really successful for us, and we really worked our asses off, both on our front and on your front. You did a great favor to us by doing as well as you did. I honestly needed you to hit, and that's all you needed to do all day.
Yeah,
but you did, like,
I don't do that.
you took it to 11. You did more. Next year we're going to need more people to help, because
that's my fault.
If we're ramping up what we're going to be doing, which I'm all for, because I want to be a part of a local con. I want to help this thing grow every year. And on the Journey to Comic show that me and Nate just did, he was saying like, well, maybe we could do, here's what they did wrong. Here's another thing they did wrong. And I'm like, you know what? Sure, let's turn that around. It's like, let's not focus on why that was wrong. Let's focus on what we can do next year to fix that and make it better.
Right.
Because that's exactly the feedback that they want, and the kind of feedback that I want to give, and to be able to make this thing even bigger. Even bigger, and year after year, it kind of grows a little bit. Even if that little bit is just 10 more people,
right?
It's 10 more people that didn't show up last year. That is 10 more people that are going to tell more people about it, and say how much fun they had.
I'm hoping from some of the stuff she said to not give anything away, but we're hoping to kind of push more stuff, like maybe more giveaways and stuff like that. That's what she was talking, because the first year, second year, they had like 700, and I think we hit that this year without those incentives. So if you brought those back, maybe it would make it larger.
Maybe, yeah, sure. I also kind of feel like, okay, so they went to a new venue, and I feel like that kind of hurt them a little bit, because moving a venue, moving to a new place when people have expected you down at one place for the last 2 years, I think it kind of hurt you a little bit, but that's fine. Because then now, like, you're established here, and so you are kind of starting over, but you're starting over with a bit of a name. So you're still going to get people who are going to search you out, but then you're going to get those people who wouldn't care as much,
right?
Who would probably like, well, I'm going to be downtown anyway. I'll just swing by,
right?
And now they have to go out of their way to find you. They might not, but then maybe next year they will, because they heard how cool this one was this year, and I hope that we help add to that.
Right.
That we did help add to that this year, because I feel like with us doing our thing with hosting the panels, being self-sufficient, only really needing them a couple times for help by basically just saying, hey, we need this.
Right.
And then being like, here, go. That, I feel like they handed us that baton, and we ran with it, and we ran with it further than what they expected us to.
That's one of the things she said. She said that that we, as a whole, as a team, did so well that she was blown away, that we just went above and beyond their expectation times 10. And that's whenever she was like, if you guys are wanting to be a little bit more involved, we can make that happen next year. So basically she said it's happening next year and you guys are there. And then that's when I threw in Game Addicts, why don't we host the game room?
Yeah. And see, the thing is that if they want to just have the Smash cart type thing, sure, but we can also put feelers out to see if there's any other interest to do like another game type of tournament, or even
Splatoon,
or even have like a setup where it's like, hey, guess what? We have a retro setup here. We have PS4, Xbox One stuff over here.
Right.
So it's like, hey, even if you're just wanting to chill out, you can come in here and chill out and play some games.
Right.
And it's like, how much does it cost? Guess what? Nothing. Sit down, enjoy yourself, have a good time.
Yeah.
Relax a little bit. That's what we're there to do. We're there to have a good time at a con.
Right.
And, when you go to a bigger con, a lot of times they have like an arcade area.
Yes.
Where you can just go and play some games. And I feel like that would just be cool. Even if it wasn't like a big attraction, it's like, oh, what's this? And it's like, oh, this is we got GameCube, we got Super Nintendo, we've got,
right.
Like Sega Genesis, whatever we decide to bring, and whatever games we decide to bring. It's like, hey, we got this stack of games. Play what you want. Try it out.
I tell you what, that they had that arcade machine there.
Sky Cursor.
It wasn't bad. It definitely was super R-Type-esque.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I felt when I played it. But man, that thing was loud. I couldn't hear sound at all.
They put that right by the sound booth at the back, and they put it there to kind of like deter people from walking up into the back area. That's where you were housed, and Joanna was at a lot of the time.
Yep.
And then our guys kind of hung out by the table back there. They let us have that. And as I said, next year we're going to have a booth, so it's going to be like more of a promotional type thing, where this year I even told Seema this, where this year was kind of like just us dipping our toe in the water.
Yep.
And because all I wanted was a show. That's really all I was looking for, and we got a little bit more. And then due to the fact that it kind of fell through, I think they kind of got really busy towards the end, and she originally said she was going to give us sample questions for the panels, and she said that she didn't have that. And then she originally said, you guys can just introduce them and let them do their thing. But to me, I was like, oh, that's not what I want to do. So when Nate got there, I wanted to talk to her with him to make sure that we could do that because I didn't want to step on her toes.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I wanted there to be like, okay, is it cool if we go talk to them and then figure out what they want to do? And she goes, absolutely. If she goes, do whatever they're comfortable with, and if if they want to do a Q&A, go ahead and do that.
And that ran, you guys ran that beautifully, other than Nate's one hosting malfunction.
Yes, he called Andy Cordy, which is the local independent comic artist and writer. He lives in Delphi.
Yeah.
He called him by the wrong name, which is hilarious. I tasked Nate with doing that, but he did. What Nate did succeed at is that he did kind of go through and he talked to Mark Rackup, who's from Fiberglass Freaks. They make the Batmobile 66 replicas. He talked to him and figured out what he wanted to do, and Nate said, hey, he wants to do a presentation, and then we can do our Q&A. So he talked to him. I talked to Brian Morris. I asked him what he wanted to do. We talked to John Tyler Christopher, asked what he wanted to do. I talked to the Paranormal guys Sunday, asked what they wanted to do. Like, pretty much.
You guys were on it, pretty much.
We didn't do any homework. We did zero homework on these guys. And the cool thing about the Paranormal guys is that I don't know them, but I've been following them on Facebook for a long time. So, therefore, it's like I was already familiar with their work. And I've actually done paranormal stuff myself. So I can sit up there and riff with them and almost know exactly what they're talking about. Because they do have some equipment I've never used, but I've seen them used before. I've never personally used an Xbox Connect
was neat
for a paranormal investigation, but I've seen it explained once on TV. But I wanted them to explain it to me because I'm like, remind me, what do you do with it? And
it's pretty interesting the way it.
They had their booth set up, and so we. That was one reason why I ran around a lot was because I wanted to make sure that none of the panels went over, and none of them did. I wanted to make sure we had enough time to get a drink and use the bathroom. Had enough time to make sure that there was communication between you, me, Nate, anybody else that was there, Caitlin, whoever.
Right.
I just talked to Rob last night, Silent Rob, and he didn't realize until later. He's like, I didn't say hi to Brandon. Like, no, you didn't. I think I said hi to you once in passing, and I saw him watching some of our panels, but we didn't really have time to talk.
No, because you guys literally were running about 40, 45 minutes, and then,
we had about 10, 15 minutes between.
10, 15 minutes, you got to get something, and then you got to prep yourselves for the next show, and then, it was hit, like, those 15, about 25 minutes it was when you closed up, and then it was bam, 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 and we're moving on to the next.
Yeah.
That's why, we don't fault anybody for anything that happens there, because you had no homework. You were reading from a piece of paper that said the names, and they weren't in the perfect order.
Right.
So, you got to do what you got to do.
I did a little bit of that. I did a little bit of cheating with Brian Morris simply because, like, I've seen his face. I met him at Villains Con, and I knew he was a writer. That's all I knew. So it was also my first panel of the day, and I was a little nervous about just because hosting a panel is different than doing a podcast. This is just me and you, and we're talking to them.
Right.
Sure, but
they're not physically here in front of you.
Well, it's not even the fact that they would be sitting there. It's a matter of fact that I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you, and I know our topic.
Right.
When I'm not as familiar on the topic, it becomes like out of my element, and so therefore, I'm a little bit more nervous because then I'm like, okay, we need to talk about this, this, and this, and this. So with Brian, I did cheat a little bit more. Just because I'm not familiar with his work, and I'm not really familiar. I wasn't familiar with Andy Cordy's work either.
Right.
But that was cool because then he got to just explain it by himself, and I wasn't alone with that one. Well, okay, Wes was there with Brian too, but I was taking the lead.
Thing is, I didn't even know Andy was going to be there until 40 minutes before the panel. They showed up with setting up their stuff, and she walked over and said, "Hey, just to let you guys know, he's going to be with Andy."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, who's this guy?
Yeah. When John got there, because John got there a little bit later on Sunday. It was in the afternoon. Our panel was at 3, and he just said, I'll be doing it with Andy.
It's like 2:30 when he got there. Somewhere around
it was right after we did, because I want to say the first panel was with Wabash Paranormal.
Right.
The second one was with them, and I went right over there, said hi, and then he said, "Oh, yeah, dude, we'll be up there in a few. We'll be up there with Andy Cordy over here." I'm like, "That's cool." And that's when I looked at Nate and go over there, find out who he is, find out what he does.
Yeah.
And Nate said that he was busy talking to somebody, so he asked somebody standing there, and the dude told him the wrong name. That's why he got the name wrong.
So it's not his fault.
No,
no fault to him.
Not entirely, no. But dude, great weekend.
It was awesome.
I was really tired.
I assume so.
Dude, okay, so that's WrestleMania weekend, right?
Yeah.
That's been a long-standing tradition with Nate and I. A couple years. I guess it's not that long-standing.
I was gonna say, yeah.
But that first year that we did it was when we did the big video project that ended up not going up because of missing footage here, the taste test. And then we did.
Oh, yes.
And then we did the first Nerds of the Round Table for JIC, and then we did Holiday Bullshit 2 for JIC, and we were here for like 11 hours that day.
Yes.
That was the first year, and then the next day was all WrestleMania.
And that was a long day for me. And then you had to watch WrestleMania
and Walking Dead.
And Walking Dead.
And then the next year, last year, we did Nerds 2, Nerds of the Round Table 2 at Rob and Gretchen's this time.
Yep.
And then we did Sort of Jeopardy.
Yep.
And then we came back here and had Taco Togetherness and ate some tacos. And then we went back. And then Sunday, we did the first episode of Journey to Wrestling, which is when we first started. That's where we decided that Game Addicts, that which we spent like a month trying to name the show. And
yeah, because every name you picked was taken.
Yeah.
That's very upsetting.
Even I want to say even Game Addicts is taken, but just Game Addicts, not Game Addicts podcast.
Yes.
Whatever. But yeah, we did Journey to Wrestling, and then we watched WrestleMania, and then we watched Walking Dead. And then last year I had the Monday off. This year I had it off because of a doctor's appointment. Ended up working out, and it was I was so lucky. I'm lucky. Do you know why?
Why?
All right. So when we left Carnahan Hall for Sunday, the last part of Lethicon, it was after 5.
Yeah.
It was after 5. It was like 5. It was almost 5:30. I got in the car, got my phone, booted up a WWE Network, and the first match was already starting because it was the pre-show. It started at 5. So I listened to the whole match all the way home. Most of the way home. It got over on the interstate. And then by the time I got home, the second match was starting. And then so I watched that there. And the pay-per-view started at 7.
So you actually didn't really miss any time.
I didn't miss it.
That's good.
The pay-per-view got over after midnight. The pay-per-view was 5 hours long.
Oh my god.
The longest WrestleMania ever. And yeah, I was so lucky I had that doctor's appointment the next day. Because I woke up, I got to sleep in just a little bit, and I woke up, and I honestly wasn't that tired. I think I was more mentally tired than I was physically tired from the weekend. But I was still riding high on the weekend because then when I got back from the doctor's appointment, I got every single panel episode because we took the panels from Lethicon, put 2 of them together usually. I think I put – the first one just went up today as we record this. This is Monday on the – is this the 10th or – yeah, Monday, April 10th. We put Brian Morris, Fiberglass Freaks together.
Yep.
And me and Nate recorded some quick intros and outros. So that's an episode. So the next one we did the Wabash Paranormal.
Right.
That one is an episode by itself, and I think that only goes like 45 minutes. But it's an episode to itself. And then we did John Tyler Christopher, and Andy Cordy. Put those 2 together. So that's one big, long, cool, nerd out podcast. And
that was a good one.
The only one that I didn't put up was the Wolfgar Weapons and Cost Awesome panel. And the reason I didn't do that is because it seemed a little long-winded as far as like explanation goes.
Right.
And it seemed like they were wearing costumes and they were talking about stuff, and it seemed a little bit more visual. So what I'm going to do, I'm still going to put the video up.
Right.
But I decided not to make that an official episode of Journey to Comics simply because we already had 3 plus the live show, so that's 4.
Right.
So you know what? I kind of didn't just make that into an episode, and I'm just going to put the videos up. Because what I'm going to do is that the podcasts are going to go up, and when I get home tonight, I'm going to upload the separate video of Brian Morris, separate video of Fiberglass Freaks. So those are going to be separate videos, not tied into an episode, available on Journey to Comics on YouTube.
I hope you guys love the lovely boxes that are.
We did have an issue where the Time Warp Comics guys, they kind of had where they had their booth set up in their little sales area. There are some boxes. It's not the best. We use the same camera we use for this, which isn't the best. But you know what?
It still turned out pretty well.
It turns out pretty okay, I feel. And then it's almost kind of like a bird's eye in the sky a little bit. It's like, hey, this is what it was like, and you could have been sitting a lot closer if you had showed up.
Yeah.
And to those of you who were there and maybe didn't get a chance to sit down for the panels, this would be a good chance for you to say, well, this is what was going on stage.
Right.
While I was looking at the con. That's another way to look at it as well. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I can't wait till next year. But my friend, there is something for us to talk about. There was some news that came out last week.
Yes.
That we really didn't get a chance to talk about because we don't work together anymore.
Nope.
But
which is a good thing, because then we can talk about it here.
Yeah, on the show. Wait. Oh, no.
What did you do?
There we go. I got it.
Okay.
The Xbox Scorpio specs got released.
Ooh, I want to see them. I'll just pull up IGN and see them.
Nah, dude, don't, because this got posted on.
Oh yeah, I don't want to
April
scroll
6th.
through.
I had to Google search it. I had to Google search Xbox Scorpio specs IGN just to pull this up. So, specifications are CPU 8 custom x86 cores. I hope you know what it is. I don't know. GPU 6 teraflops, just like they said.
Right.
RAM 12 gigabytes GDDR5.
Nice.
12 gigabytes of RAM here. Memory bandwidth 326 gigabits per second. I assume that's gigabits.
Yeah.
Vapor chamber cooling.
Huh.
And a 1 terabyte hard drive.
They don't have a price yet?
No. And then written, as IGN has written here, in simpler terms, the CPU is 30% faster than Xbox One with a GPU of 4.6 times more powerful. Its RAM and hard drive speed reads are also improved, meaning 4K resolutions should be easily achieved and maintained. It's also more powerful than PS4 Pro and will allow for performance increases on non-4K screens. That means Xbox One games can receive performance boosts or super sampled resolutions, even on a regular HD output.
Huh.
Even without specific Scorpio patches, the new console will seemingly run all Xbox One and 360 backwards compatible games better than the standard or S hardware. Load times, frame rates, and resolutions should also benefit. In a stress test version of Forza 6, the console reportedly displayed the game at 4K, 60 frames per second, using around 60 to 70% of its full power.
That's good.
A regular Xbox One runs the Forza 6 game at 1080p, 60 frames per second, using 90% of its power. So think about that. That's how much improved the Scorpio is over the base Xbox One model.
Right, and I wonder if they're going to pop this out as, hey, new console, as in not a bridge console. It is a new generation console.
We've talked about that.
Yes, we have.
Digital Foundry could not state a name or price, although estimates are around $500 based on the specifications and comments from Microsoft, or what the console will look like, although it will have identical output ports of the Xbox One S. For a more detailed look at the console, Digital Foundry's coverage is extensive. We recommend having a look over at several articles for a more in-depth picture and checking out how Scorpio stacks up against PS4 Pro and Xbox One S. So, and that is the rumor that's going around, is that this thing is going to cost around $500. So, in other words, it's going to be it's going to be more than the asking price of the PS4 Pro. However, you're getting more.
You are definitely getting
but what we're looking at is the hype, and they got to have the games ready going into the fall. So
they better have Halo ready.
I'm thinking either Halo expansion, like DLC expansion, because Halo 5 just came out last year.
Yeah, but
that's not enough time to turn around another Halo game, dude.
I know, but you're talking about, I mean, putting Forza on there, that's what you need to do.
Forza's going to be on
Forza has to be there.
Forza will be there.
But you need to have those other AAA title of yours. Everybody knows Halo.
I agree.
Or you need to say, hey, 6 months later, you can grab Halo.
Right. They need to, and I'm sure the pressure's on to get Halo 6 out.
Oh, yeah.
For the Scorpio, but I don't think it's going to be there at launch. I'll be surprised if it is, because
I don't think it will, but
I can see them saying, hey, here's the Xbox, here's Scorpio launch day, here is big story DLC for Guardians, plus a big patch for 4K.
Right.
So now you get the same game in 4K, plus this new 10-hour experience that is brand new. So it's like a new Halo game, but
I will probably pick this up because 360, Xbox One,
and Scorpio, yep.
all on one system.
Yep.
You can't beat that.
No.
For $500, when you really think about the price, when what you're actually getting, it's worth the money.
And see, what sucks? What sucks is that the architecture of the PS3 is so different to the 4.
Yes.
That it's very it sucks because they can't. I think they can if they work hard enough at it. They can probably get PS3 emulation on a 4.
They can. I'm sure they can.
And is it that big a deal? Really? I don't know.
I mean, they're streaming PS3 games right now.
They are, but I wonder how much of it is important because a lot of the big titles have already been HD remade.
Yeah.
God of War 3 is out there for PS4. All the Uncharted are out there. The Last of Us is out there. We're getting ready to have a new Gran Turismo, so you don't really need an old Gran Turismo.
I'm crossing my fingers that one is good.
Good.
Not like 5.
But for Scorpio, okay, I kind of feel like this might be starting off as a niche product. As for people who really want the 4K experience and for people who have not either got the Xbox One like you or people who got the Xbox One but haven't upgraded to an S or anything like that.
Here's my question. How far is Microsoft willing to go?
I smell coffee.
There probably is coffee somewhere. Are they going to do all the 360 game library to make them available on the Xbox One and Scorpio?
The entire library? That I don't know. Because the backwards compatibility library it's being worked on.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to get as many as they can. And that does mean that they're not going to hit them all, but they do have an internal wish list, and people are like saying, "Hey, I want Blue Dragon." So they know that enough people want Blue Dragon that they're going to try and make Blue Dragon available. Because every single, see how it works on there is that you have the disc, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't install from your disc.
No.
They upload that game to the store. When you put the game in, it gives you a free download.
Right.
Of that. And it registers the ID in that disc. And it will not play that game that you've downloaded unless you've got that disc in there.
Yep.
So you can't just go to Disc Replay or GameStop and go, ha, 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 and then go home, download them all, and then give your discs back. The way that they made it is that whatever RFID is on that disc is going to match up with whatever, with the game that you've redeemed.
Right.
And so you have to have the disc to play them. But you do get a digital copy of it installed onto your system. So it's kind of like putting an Xbox One game and having it install. You're just downloading it from the store.
See, I'm still okay with that because nowadays with our technology, we are able to put, a couple terabytes on it. Like the I have yet to attempt the PS4 Pro. I have yet to open it up and see where I can put a new hard drive.
Well, see, and now you don't even have to because now the PlayStation 4s, the Pro and the old ones, you can put external hard drives on them.
Right.
So that just came on the last big patch.
So that's amazing.
It is.
It is a great. I mean, we've talked about it.
That's something that Xbox One has had for a long time, and that's because they made it to where you can't change the hard drive in the Xbox One.
Right.
So having external support was very important for them to get out very quickly because people wanted more space. With the PlayStation, it wasn't as important because they, you can change them out. Right. But they knew people wanted it, so they eventually got it out as well. But with that being said, coming into E3,
yes,
if Scorpio is going to be like the fall, right? Then Xbox is going to come in there with games. They have to come out with the games because the system alone isn't going to be enough to hype it. They've got to have the games. There to say, hey, all these games that you're going to be playing on like your Xbox One, guess what? Get the Scorpio because it looks like this. And unfortunately, for most of us watching at home,
you don't have a 4K TV to see that.
Yeah, we don't have a 4K TV to see the actual difference. I can't wait to see what Forza looks like in 4K. I bet it looks amazing. Just like Gran Turismo, that one. We watched the 4K trailer.
Good Lord.
for Gran Turismo Sport.
Good Lord, that was amazing.
I mean, it looked good on my 1080s, and we came over here to your house. It was after PlayStation Experience.
Yep.
And we watched that. It looked pretty good. But and one thing that I'm thinking though is that I'm afraid that the compatibility with Xbox One which is why I don't necessarily think this is going to be a new system. I think it's going to be called Xbox One something.
Oh, I hope
like Xbox One X or Xbox.
I hope not.
Well, see, here's the thing: is that it's going to be tied to the original Xbox One. So every single game that they release has to be fully playable on the Xbox One. I know we've talked about maybe leaving that in the past eventually, but you have to have, because you already have 25 to 30 million people have an Xbox One. That is that many people they have to be able to play Halo.
Right.
They have to be able to play Forza. So to be able to make those games look better, that's cool. But then if when you're designing these games, you can't design them just for the Scorpio. You have to design them to base level and then move up.
I think they'll look at what PlayStation has done, because PlayStation has done the same thing. Like, look, here's Skyrim remade on PS4, and by the way, if you have PS4 Pro, we're going to give you a 4K, a 4K download, and that's what you use to get your 4K. I believe that we'll see a lot more of that in the coming days.
Did you say 4K?
I did say 4K.
4K?
4K.
Anyway, I think that's going to about do it for us this week here.
I'm hoping at E3 we see, as well as the Switch is done, I feel like that some people have been holding back.
Oh, so you're talking about Switch?
Yeah, we're
okay, so we're not done.
We're switching.
That echoed.
It did. That was a good one. But I believe that you'll see some people come forward and say, you know what? We'll go ahead and get something on the Switch.
I think we have a Nintendo Direct coming this week talking about Switch games.
Let's find out.
I want to say I saw that because we have Mario Kart 8 coming up at the end of this month.
Yes.
That's going to be a big release, and then even though it's already been out, it is a big release because now you're going to have Mario Kart 8 on the go if you wanted to have it on the go. So, is there one this week?
Yes, it is Wednesday.
Oh, cool.
So
what's in the cover?
Which cover?
Of the Direct.
It has the ARMS and Splatoon 2.
Splatoon 2. Like. So I'm sure we're going to see some
I'm going
of
to click
both.
on it and see what happens.
We're probably going to see some of both. My guess is they're going to have a pretty big Mario Kart since that's going to be like the next big game. We're going to see some Splatoons in the summer.
So it says here, tune in April 12th at 3 p.m. Pacific time or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, so it's in the evening. That's cool.
For information on Nintendo Switch, Nintendo 3DS, and a new Nintendo Direct presentation focused mainly on ARMS and Splatoon.
Oh, Splatoon 2.
Yeah, Splatoon 2. So you're going to see mainly those. But switching into E3, I hope to see a playable demo of Mario.
I do too.
They almost have to at this point. The Switch
They're weird though because if Splatoon is coming out right then and there, or like right around the corner from that, like in July, they may really focus on that first, and then be like, "Look, we already know Mario Odyssey is going to be a great game and it's going to sell. Let's focus on this because this is still a new IP for them, even though they've had one game and they did very well.
It's sold over 1 million copies.
It did very well
for the Wii U, and what was it like? They only at the time when we did this, we made a thing on it on the podcast previously where it sold 1 million copies. So 1 in every 10 console owners
had
Splatoon, which is amazing.
And we
for
don't
a new
still.
IP. We still don't know. It's still $50.
It is
used.
That's the problem with used Nintendo. It just doesn't. If it's a big hit, it doesn't drop very fast.
But when I get the Switch, and I'm sure when you get the Switch, I will be getting Splatoon 2.
I will too. It really depends on what games, because I might hold off on Zelda because I already have it on Wii U and will have already played it. As much as I'm talking day one on Switch. Do I need to get Zelda right in there because I'm not going to play it?
I plan on trying. As we've talked before.
Well, because I'll be looking at Mario Odyssey. I'll be looking at Xenoblade 2. I'll be looking at Mario Kart, and I'll be looking at the fourth one would be Zelda or Splatoon. It's like, is this my opportunity to try Splatoon?
That would be a good opportunity, yeah.
And so then it's like, okay, I'm going to get Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Switch. It's not going to be a hard game to find. So maybe I'll just wait, and then I'll just pick it up later on. Maybe I'll wait and get the Switch, like Greatest Hits or Nintendo Selects, Player's Choice, whatever they are on this. But maybe I'll wait and get that for that because I've already got Breath of the Wild for the Wii U. and I've already played it. By then, I'll have already played it and beat it. And then, well, yes, I want to take it on the go with me, but like I'll be more focused on like other games and stuff by then at that point, so I won't be as much into playing it.
Have you seen what's in the Master Collection?
No.
So they have the cover for your on the go.
Oh yes, I have
the
seen
Sheikah
it.
Slate.
Yes.
Oh man, I saw that and I was like, yeah,
Damn it.
I've got to find this because I've been looking around at some of the accessories because I've really been obsessing over the Switch, and I've been really telling myself I don't need it right now. I don't have the time to play it. If I buy it, it's just something that's going to sit here. I don't have time, and I want it so bad because it's so cool. And I know that I'll buy it and I'll get Zelda, and then I'll get a couple other games. I'll be like, meh, and I won't touch it until like Mario comes out. I don't want to do that, but I really want the Master Collection, and I know that I will probably not find it firsthand. Unfortunately.
Probably not, man.
Because they're just selling out insanely fast, and people are selling it for ridiculous amounts, which all of you guys, I hate you all.
Switch is doing very well. The Switch is selling very well. I mean,
I'm really happy for them.
I don't think it's like its pace is outpacing the PS4, but I think it's out. Yeah, I've already heard it's outpacing the Wii. And it's set up for where Nintendo was like way down here and PlayStation, Xbox are way up here. This launch has put them a little bit higher on that scale, and has given them an opportunity where PlayStation and Xbox are like, we need 4K. Get systems that play 4K. We need 4K right now because there's 4K TVs out there. They're getting cheaper. We need 4Ks right now. And Nintendo's like, let's just take what we have and take it with us.
And that's such an amazing concept because I know I am, and I know that you are too, very, very primarily on the go. We like to have things on the go, especially our RPGs. Because you're talking, you sink hundreds and hundreds of hours into these RPGs, and a lot of the times, I know you being a father, you need to be mobile. What do you do? Honey, drive me somewhere. And then that's where you get your game time in because you don't have that time accessible to you.
Playing Mass Effect is troublesome with the little one right now.
But
it sucks.
It's cool because what they've done is that they've taken a tablet and they've made it a console. Mm-hmm. Now, with the success, I'm assuming with the success of the Switch, you're going to see a lot of these tablet people like Angry Bird, all these people that have big titles for tablets are going to be coming, hey, you guys need to put us on there. We already got it. We'll just transfer our stuff over. Mm-hmm. Boom. And
they've made the Switch a little bit more user or creator friendly.
Yes.
From what I've heard, and then as I said before, as long as people have bought the Switch and it's in enough people's hands, game makers like Capcom. Okay, so they said there's no plans to put Resident Evil 7 on the Switch. 0 plans right now. You get that system in enough people's hands, it might change their mind.
Later on down the road.
Yeah, it might change their mind to where maybe they don't get 7, but maybe they get 8. Or you start putting out they'll start putting out more content for that console if more people have it.
Oh yes.
So,
which like I said before, I'm really excited that the Switch is doing so well because that's putting the Switch Nintendo product in more people's hands, which means we're going to get more of the Nintendo products that we deserve. Not the fact that we it's nice to have them, but we deserve more than what they've been able to give us.
Can you imagine GTA 5 on the go?
On the go. I can't wait.
It could do it.
Skyrim on the go. I'm screwed.
Yeah, you are screwed.
My wife is going to be literally in the car going.
You drive.
I drive everywhere anyway, so it's just going to be.
Well, then with her being distracted, she wouldn't have so much road rage or passenger road rage.
Passenger road rage. I think she would. Actually, she'll have. I hate you, dragon. I'm just hoping she don't go. Smash it on something. No.
One last thing for me, I told you downstairs that I have a grievance with Mass Effect.
Yes.
I do have a grievance. I really enjoy the game. I just want to say that, but the game is getting tedious, and what I mean by that is that I reached my third planet, my second planet where I can just roam around and go. All right, so you have your main story plot, right?
Right.
This game is more open world, quote unquote. So you have a lot more of exploration, but the problem is that it's not freeform exploration as much as it is. All right, I'm going to spoil like the first hour of the game just a little bit here. So you guys arrive on Andromeda, right? You're the human arc. You guys arrive. There's like 3 other arcs: Turian, Asari, Solarian. They're gone. Where are they? Oh.
No word.
You're the only people who have showed up, and then now it's all on you to get stuff moving. So basically, whereas in the original trilogy you play a Shepherd and he's already a badass, and now you're just like adding to his badassery, you are like playing the formation of the badass of Ryder.
Right.
Where it was all on him, and everything, all the success of everybody that went over there is hinging on him and his decisions.
Right.
Or her. But then part of that is also trying to figure out what happened to these other arcs. So you have a character on your ship, one of your teammates. She wants to find the arc, the Asari arc.
Yes.
Okay. So I go to a planet, and you're tracking down a transponder signal that could be, possibly, first you got to go to Eos, where someone who was on the Asari arc escaped in an escape pod and said, I found this transponder. It could be over there. So you go to this other planet, and it's like, oh, well, I guess it was a false signal. And then there's 5 other spots on the map where you got to go check and see if the signal's right. So you drive all the way over here. Oh, false signal. Drive all the way over here. Oh, false signal. Drive all the way over here. Finally, I found it. I didn't have to go to all 5.
You had to go 4.
But that's very tedious to me, because then it's forcing you to drive all the way across the map with little to no fast travel. You can do fast travel, unlike what I said before, but you have to get those little pods that come down, like your supplies.
Supply drop,
you have to activate those in each part of the map, and you can fast travel to that section, and then summon the Nomad there, and then you can take off and go. But it's just like I really am enjoying the game. I'm enjoying the overall story, because I got to a couple big story parts that were like, ooh, that's interesting. That explains the main villains that you're fighting.
Right.
I got an explanation on who are on like their forces. I don't have a big explanation on the lead guy.
Right.
But I got explanation on the Ket. Okay, cool. And then all this other stuff, if you want to try and find that story arc, you have to do all this other stupid crap and drive around. And guess what? Guess what you do when you find the last spot? You fight.
Yeah.
Go figure. Well, that's fine, and I love the combat. It's just like, drive here. Nope. Okay. Drive here. Nope. Okay. Drive here. Fight. Okay, now I'm done with that. Let's go over this quest over here. Drive here. Fight. Drive here. Fight. It's rinse and repeat.
Right.
And so while the game is fun, if that bores you too much, thankfully for me, in a way, it is a little boring, but I can't play too much in one go.
Right.
I have a problem of having to kick my tires before I leave, because, okay, so the first planet you go to is Eos, and then you do stuff there, and it's like you set up a colony, right?
Right.
And it's like, okay, come back later. All right. So I left, and then I ended up going back because I got a quest, and I ended up going back because I had a quest, and then the whole map opened up. Oh, cool. Radiation's gone. Let's drive around. And then I got stuck there. What I mean by stuck there is I found more stuff to do. So I did every single thing I could do on that planet. And then I left. And then I went on and got more of my story. And then I got a little cutscene where they're like, hey, you should go back to Eos and check that out. I bet the radiation is gone now. And besides, the Ket is still there. I'm like, I just beat them all. Because in the game, I went back and forth through the planet so much, I got to the point where I could go back. When really, narratively, they tell you to go on and do other stuff, but you kind of have the freedom to go back if you want.
Right.
So since I went back enough, it opened it up before narratively I was really supposed to go back. So them saying you should go back, and, finish up stuff there, and I'm like, no need.
I'm already done.
So then I went to the cold planet, the ice planet, did my story thing there. That's taking me over here. But then I went back to that cold planet, and now I'm doing everything I can do there. When really, I don't have to do that right now. But that's me. I'm like, I'm working my way around the map. And I think that's taking me longer than anything, because I'm just that kind of person that I want to make the planet viable. I want to activate my pods. I want to make, that's part of that underlining story of, we need to activate all the cryopods and get everybody up and moving. But you can do the main story if you want. Well, no, because you need to get the Nexus going. And I'm just like, I bet the payoff on that is very little.
Yeah, probably.
But that's just me. That's just part of the game. But a little bit of grievance with it. Not much. They did release a big patch, Oh, the Maddock fires like the way it used to. I don't know if it was just me or if the patch fixed it or what.
I bet the patch fixed it.
It might have, but check this out. All right, so I leveled up my guy a little bit to be able to carry more guns. So now I have the Pathfinder gun that I was using that I like, and I had the Phalanx gun, and I have enough where I can carry the Maddock and the Carnifex. So I got 2 pistols, 2 assault rifles. So if I ever run out of ammo in one, I got this. And I'm tearing shit up with that Maddock again. It feels good.
Right back at home.
Yeah, it was right back at home, and yeah, so I'm really digging the combat. I'm going full tech almost with this.
Huh.
Usually I go biotic, and no, I'm going past times I've gone like biotic tech, but my setup I have overload, and I have incinerate, and then I have omni grenade. And what's cool is that I normally run with Drac, which is the Krogan, and then the Turian. But when I went to the Ice Planet, I went with PB and Cora, the two they're biotics. And one of them did pull, and I used overload, and I did a biotic explosion with overload. Badass. And you can also set up incinerate to detonate stuff as well.
Huh.
To where then it makes it to where incinerate is not just a fire combo primer.
Right.
It can now detonate a tech combo or a biotic combo.
Huh.
So yeah, and then you can
a little bit more flexibility.
Yes. So while I did just like say something that I didn't like about the game, I had to counter it with something that I did like about the game.
One of the things I like is that freaking Omni Shield. Oh my god! As a Vanguard.
Jay hates that vehicle, by the way, the Nomad. He hates it.
Jay can't drive.
I know, but I mean, like he wants a gun on it.
You don't get a gun.
It's a rover. It's a rover.
It's not an assault vehicle.
No, it's a freaking rover to get you across the planet.
I mean, what do you want? You want to drive in with your plane and like start fucking shit up? That's not fair.
Even the Tempest doesn't have a gun.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
It's transport.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think it is officially going to do it. I think it was almost a half hour ago I said that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, that's going to do it for here today on the Game Addicts podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, throw us a subscribe over on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Google Play Music. We're on the YouTubes. And
YouTubes.
You can search us now. We actually show up. Check this out. I'm going to do it right here live on the show.
I remember we were having issues with that.
Well, yeah, because I was having issues, and I think it was just my own stupidity. As I type YouTuber.
YouTuber?
Yeah.
That would be your own fault.
All right, so check this out. Game Addicts Podcast. Boom, 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 boom.
Hello.
Hey, it's episode 13. And then it's some other people, not us. And then the first channel that is suggested, Game Addicts Podcast. So you can search us right there. We're growing. We're just putting these videos up. They're not crazy high fidelity, but we're doing it anyway because I like having our stuff out on multiple mediums. And while we did the Journey to Comics on YouTube, there was just no video. So if I have a camera and I can film it and I can hook it right up into the audio,
why not?
Why not, man? It's just another way to get people to watch us and listen to us. So if you want to show us a subscribe on any of those or all of those, comment, tell us what you think. If we messed up, tell us. If you
correct our
pronunciations of Secret of the Stars. If you want to tell us we put a system or like a game on the wrong system, tell us that too because sometimes we need to know.
I wouldn't know anybody that does that on a regular basis.
Hopefully not. But thank you guys so much for checking out this episode. Until next time. I'm Brando.
And I am Mike.
And we will see you next week with the Xbox 360 retrospective. Have a good one.